1990s, what did we always hear?
The economy's stupid.
It was only about like oral sex. That's all it was about. Of course, in a sexual harassment lawsuit.
Right.
Right?
There's that.
In a sexual harassment lawsuit. But let's look at the economy. Let's look at this. Look at that. It's always about something else with them.
It's also simply not true that previous secretaries of state exclusively used private email.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, they were allowed to have.
They used it sometimes, but they had .govs as well, so there was access to what they'd been doing. But the part I think that sticks with me and with a lot of people is that she controls these emails. So she can say, I'm going to give to the State Department what I want to give to the State Department, but not what the State Department may need, or not what a congressional committee may need, or that a Freedom of Information request may need.
Here's a William, I'm so glad you brought that up. The statement that she put out last night, the tweet, such absolute nonsense, insulting the intelligence of everybody, saying, I am asking the State Department to release my emails.
They don't have them.
No, they don't have them. She has them. They have 55,000 emails that she and her staff parsed through and decided to give to them. And she's saying to the State Department, I am asking you, that's like me telling you, Willie, I am asking you to release my son from captivity. You don't have him, I got him. I mean, how stupid. And this is a question I have asked of the Clintons since 1992. How stupid do they think we are?
Well, she's got an 87% approval rating.
How stupid do they think we are?
What will be interesting is to see if this takes anything out of her dominance in the Republican field. I mean, she's above 85% approval rating among Democrats. Does this take anything out of her, or is this so baked in the cake, as you've been saying all morning, that it doesn't matter?
It's like dealing with one of your kids with excuse after excuse after excuse for, rapping.
By the way, this Q poll, Mike, just came out this morning. Hillary Clinton at 56%, Elizabeth Warren 14%, Joe Biden 10%, Bernie Sanders 4%. Go ahead.
It's just, I'm getting exhausted just listening to this. I can only imagine, an average voter trying to figure out where to go with the vote.
What's exhausting you?
The stories, the continuum of story after story after story, excuse after excuse after excuse.
But doesn't it have a numbing effect after a while? I know in the 1990s, after a while, it was just like, you know what? It's the Clintons. They're going to lie to us. That's why I said the real tragedy of the Monica deal is that was the smallest thing that happened during the Clinton administration. Bill Clinton would get hundreds of thousands of dollars from a contributor, and then in return he would transfer weapon technology to the communist Chinese government. And even when the Defense Department was saying no, even when State was saying no, he would have to go to Ron Brown in Commerce to get a sign-off. Now that's a scandal. But by the time Monica came along, everybody was so tired, but for some reason the press was stupid, and that was what everybody, and the people were stupid. That's what they could grab hold to, when there were so many other scandals behind that were so much more important.
But there's 2 points here. One is that for some reason or other they are so attracted to having the media bashing them at all the times. They seem to go out of their way to engage in the media. The second thing is, in terms of the 1990s and today with regard to Hillary Clinton, it's just an entirely different time. In the 1990s, or when she first...
They're not going to get away with this. They just aren't.
I tend to agree with you, but I mean, there was no economic catastrophe hovering over people's lives. We were not at war for 15 years in the 1990s. It's very different today.
I got to go to Jonathan Capehart really quickly. I'm sorry, and then we've got to get to Ferguson. Jonathan, politicians got away with things in the 1990s they will not get away with now because of the internet, because of everything that's online, because of bloggers. News organizations don't get away today with what they got away with in the 1990s because you've got a million watchdogs out there watching everything you do. Do you agree with what Mike Barnacle just said, that what worked in the 1990s for the Clintons probably won't work in 2015?
Well, sure, because we're now living in a world of transparency. Back in the 1990s, as journalists, we had information that only we could get and that only we could have because we had access to the AP and the UPI wires, and then we put the news out for people to see. Today, our readers and viewers get the same information we get at the same time because of Twitter and all the social media platforms that we have. The problem that Hillary Clinton could possibly have when she gets into the race is that the world that she's going to be running in is completely different than the world her husband ran in when he ran for president the first time in '92, and definitely since she ran for the nomination the first time in 2008. It's a completely different landscape. The world is infinitely more transparent, and it's also faster. I think Angel said it yesterday on your show that the story hit the New York Times website the night before around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Hillary Clinton's people didn't put out a press release or a statement until the show was on the air about 6:30, 6:45.
Right.
In the world we're in now, in the transparent, fast-paced world we're in now, you've got to move a whole lot faster than that. You cannot let a story like this sit out there for an hour or in some cases even 15 minutes. They're going to have to be more nimble, quicker, and more transparent.
And what they did, Mika, they reacted actually to the first 45 minutes of us talking about it, then put out a statement at 6:45, and then all they did, as Jonathan's saying, made that the top story for all the broadcast news networks.
Yep.
Transparency.
Well, we're going to move on. We have a lot to cover.